Hi, this video is going to be to show you guys how to make this tag book that I did a walkthrough of the other day, and I'm going to give you some measurements and walk through the process with you. This again is the box, and it opens up and it has a little box inside and it holds some tags, and there's a little pocket in the back. So that is what we're going to be making. I'm going to start with the cover, and you are going to need 2 pieces of chipboard that are 5 by 7 and 1 piece of chipboard that is 2 by 7. 2 5 by 7, 1 2 by 7. Now if you want to go ahead and cut all the chipboard while you're cutting it, I'll give you the dimensions for the little box that's on the inside too. The box that holds the cards. Okay, so the dimensions for that, I'll go ahead and put those up. You'll need 2 pieces at 1 3/4 by 3, 2 at 3 by 4.5, and 1 piece that's 1 3/4 by 4.5. So here's all the pieces you're going to need for chipboard. Okay. All right. So once you have all your chipboard cut, I start with the cover, and so I'm going to take 2 sheets of my Artisan cardstock, and I'm going to have to adhere them together because it's not long enough for my cover. So I'm going to, I cut these down. Because it's 7 inches tall, I added an inch on the top and an inch on the bottom, so that's 9 inches. So my paper is 9 inches tall. And I'm going to adhere the 2 pieces together and then cut off the excess that's at the end. So I just use score tape, and I'm going to place score tape on one end. And I like it to be extra strong, so I'm going to go ahead and put some score tape on the other one. And I'm putting it on the 9-inch side. So I'm going to flip one upside down and overlap them a little bit so that they connect. So score tape on the bottom one is facing up, score tape on the top one is facing down. Make sure that it's on there real good so you can burnish it. I got something on my paper, but it'll be covered. I have something there too. So it'll be like this. Okay. And I have nails, so I'm usually able to get that tape off, or the cover off the tape. Sometimes it's tricky and I have to get my X-Acto knife, but so we're going to line these up as closely as possible. And press down so that they stay. Yep, looks perfect. And for those of you who are familiar with making the book covers, or the album covers, we're going to end up putting, we want a 1-inch border on all the sides. Okay, so, and I want the seam on the back piece of my cover. So when I put this together, I want to make sure that my seam is on the right hand side. Okay, now when I measured earlier, I thought it would be about a 15-inch long piece of paper, and that's about right. So I'm going to trim my paper down to 15 inches. Right now it's at 15, 8, 23. It's about 23 and a half. So let me see. Sorry, it's taking me a second here. I'm just going to make my life easier and put a mark on the 15-inch. All right. so now it's at 15 inches by 9 inches. And I want to make sure that I put my chipboard on evenly so that I don't have it cattywampus or I lose sight of how straight it is. So I'm going to go ahead and mark at 1 inch on the side and the top so that I can line everything up. I'm going to get a different ruler. No, I'll use this one. I have a mark on my grid, so I'll just line it up on my grid. And there's my 1 inch mark. And I'm going to go ahead and continue that line to the top. Okay, so I have 1 inch. That's going to help me keep everything lined up like it should be. Line it up on my grid on my board. My board is terribly messy. I got paint and all that kind of stuff on there. So, okay, so then 1 inch. On this side. And you know what, just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 inch line at the bottom. Some people don't have to do that, and a lot of times I don't do it, but because I have just that 1 inch border, I don't want to screw up and be off a little bit. So I'd rather be overly cautious than to screw up. Okay, that's just, to help me keep everything lined up. So what I'm going to do is place chipboard here. I'm going to leave a space in between, and it'll probably be about 1/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to place the other one about 1/4 of an inch away from that one. And I have a little more than 1 inch on this side, but that's totally okay with me. Okay. So before I go any farther, I'm going to go ahead and place score tape around the edges and put some in the center too. I've been using the 3/8 inch score tape instead of the 1/4, and I really like it. I think it gives you a little bit better coverage. Even if you do a 1/2 inch, like you scored at a 1/2 inch, I would rather have more coverage of my adhesive. So, and some people go crazy on their adhesive, and I probably am one of them. But I'm going to try not to overdo the score tape. So I'm just going to put some here and there, just so that it stays down firm. I don't have to go crazy. And it's got such a good stick that it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so that should be about enough. That'll keep it down. Now I'll do my spine. Just go around. And I'm going to make sure I get it along the top and bottom. And I used to use that red line tape, but oh, I'm so glad I switched over. It had a good stick to it. It's just that I got so tired of having this to have the scissors out and cut, and then that red stuff would stick to my fingers all the time and drive me insane. So this to me is way better. All right. There's that, and I'm probably, you got to go through and make sure it's stuck real good. Probably didn't do that to this one. My bone folder. And the last 5x7. Around the edges and then some in the center. Oop. Cut that one. Alright. And I've already kind of been thinking about the paper. I'm using the Blue Fern Heartland collection for this one. I used it for my sample one also because it's awesome. It's really pretty. I know that you can get it at Country Craft Creations, but it is a limited amount. So if you're interested in the paper I'm using, you got to get on it and order it before she runs out. It's great for Valentine's Day. And I did a reveal of my creative design team kit and went through all the paper so you could see what it looks like before you order it. Alright, let me give that a good push down here so that when I take off the adhesive it's going to stay. Alright, so I'm going to make sure that I line it up. It's important that that first piece be lined up from the get-go. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the back of my score tape. And because I use my bone folder, it's coming off real easy without pulling up the adhesive. And because I have some fingernails a little bit, I can get those off pretty easily. And I hope it's not too noisy. I craft down in my basement, and that's where the furnace is, and so it's a cold day in Nebraska, so the furnace will be going on and off, so I hope that's not a distraction. Alright, perfect. Push down real good, make sure it sticks. So what a lot of people do is they use the 1/4 inch score tape in between to leave a space in between the spine and the covers. On my sample, I did not put score tape in between. I just eyeballed it. I left a space and it was fine. I'm going to go ahead and put the score tape in this time. So I'm going to turn it sideways just so it's easier for me to lay it down. And I want to get it as straight as possible. And I'm just going to butt it up against that chipboard. Okay. And that's good for giving me the space that I need, and it'll be good for holding the paper down once I put the decorative paper on top. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the adhesive of my spine and lay that down next to the 1/4 inch score tape I put down. Alright. And I think this is a good timing for this, for Valentine's Day, to make this little box. You can put anything in the box. It doesn't have to be tags. It's just that I'm kind of a tag freak, and so I thought it would be a good idea to put tags in it. Okay, so I'm going to eyeball this, get it lined up against the score tape and on my lines. And it looks pretty good. Looks pretty even. And I'll go ahead and put that score tape on the other side of the spine too. And get it as close as possible. Okay. That one's not exactly perfect, but it'll work. And then take off the score tape on this one and lay it down. If you want to just have it be something easy, like if you're making flat valentines, like for your kids to take to school or whatever, you can use cardstock and not even use chipboard. It'll just be a little bit more flimsy, but if it's not going to be something that they keep, and if it's just for to hold some of the, like the valentines you get from the store or whatever, I don't know. But it could probably be made out of paper too. I just want it to be durable because I'll probably hold on to it. Okay. Last one, I'm going to line it up. Line it up on my 1 inch line. Press it down real good. Okay. Now remember, I want my seam on the right. So now I'm going to go around and place my score tape around the outside edge, and I'm also going to place score tape around this edge, and then I am going to trim the corners. And I put the score tape on first before I cut the corners, just to make sure it goes all the way to the end. So this is where you can use quite a bit of score tape, but you want to make sure that your book doesn't fall apart. You know, I used to be one of those people who used the ATG gun, and I still have it, but I waste so stinking much. I don't know if I'm not loading it right or what the deal is, but it keeps getting stuck, and I don't think it sticks nearly as well. I use it for some things, but not my covers. I am a score pal, or a score tape person. So, and the fourth side. Okay. And you'll want to make sure you press that down real good. So you're putting it on the outside of the border paper, and I'm using the white artisan cardstock, and then you're going to place it on the chipboard, and I go all the way through. You know what, just because I've had problems in the past, now I'm going to use my, I'm going to take this off right now so that it's not, oh, what did I do? Oh, it's coming, it's just tight. Okay. And get that puppy up. This, oop, that one ripped on me. There we go. Maybe. Come on. Darn it. Let me go to the top. I kind of had to overlap. I didn't lay the score tape down evenly, so I have some overlap. Okay. So I took care of that before I put the score tape around the edge. It's just easier for me. And now along the chipboard on the outsides. Okay. And here we go. This is a quick and easy project. At least I think it is. Make it in about, well, we'll see how long it takes. I probably won't do a lot of the decorating on the front. I'll do some of the base paper, you know, with the, just so you can kind of see, but the actual decorating, you're free to do it how you want. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that I have this on real good. And I have one of those yellow at the corner things where you line it up and you cut, but I have found that I'm having just as much luck without using that. You know what I'm talking about? Let me find it. This thing, what's it called? It's called Perfect Corners, I think. No, yeah, Perfect Trim Ruler. And you just lay it on here, and it's supposed to help you trim the right amount off the corner. And sometimes I think I do a better job just eyeballing. So I'm going to put that puppy away and just use my scissors and trim. So I'm going to go, you don't want to cut right up against the chipboard. You do want to leave a little bit so that when you fold it, you can cover that chipboard and it doesn't show. So I'm just going to go at an angle. And see, I didn't go all the way in. I left a little bit. And I'm going to do that on all four corners. Okay. And yeah, I had a little bit of waste of the score tape, but that's okay. All right. So I'm going to try and give this a memory so that it knows where it needs to be folded. So I take it and just kind of lift it up. I'm actually going to take my bone folder and just kind of go along the edge just so it folds all right, so it knows. Okay, and I'll do this side. Lift it up, and I'm going to give it a scoring. And the bottom. We want it to lay real nice. Okay. And one more side. I want to do it to all four. And this one, yep, I did it. Okay. Now I do the long sides first, so I'm going to do the bottom and the top. Actually, it goes this way. I'm going to go ahead and fold this one over, then the top one over, and then the side ones over. So I'm going to take off my score tape, and I'm going to take the side ones off on the chipboard too. Otherwise, I'll lay my paper on it by mistake. Oh, I'll do that one in a minute. Here said, oh yeah, I have no problem with my fingernails. Oh, that one came up. Darn it. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'm going to fold it up and try and get it as flat and as nice and as neat as possible. And I'm going to take my score tool, or my burnishing tool. Have I been saying score? I meant, this is a for burnishing bone folder. It's a Teflon one. I really like it. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it around and do the other side. I've had all sorts of bone folders, and I like the Teflon the most. I just think it gives you a really good, oh, get up there. There we go. Burnish it. Okay, and our side pieces. I'm going to make sure that I tuck this extra. See, I cut it a little bit longer so I can kind of push this in so that it covers that chipboard and you don't see it. Okay. Oh, that does not make me happy. I have a little bit of a gap on this one. It never fails. Darn it. I don't like that. That is really going to bother me. Do you see it? That bothers me. I have a little bit of a space. Ugh. Oh well, I'll make it work. I'll keep this one and give away the other one I made. And I'm going to go ahead and see, this one was fine. Darn it, I wish I would have done the other one just as well. Is that the back, I hope? Yeah, that's on the back. Ugh, that is terrible. What? Yuck, I don't like that. Okay, I'll get over it. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is place the decorative paper on the inside of our book. And so I've already pre-cut mine, and this is the paper that I'm using for the inside. It's awesome. It's a pinkish color, and it's got this hanging basket of flowers. And let me measure that for you. I know it's, let's see, I don't know anything. It is, the book is 7 inches tall. So I cut it 6 3/4 inches tall, and the width is almost 12. It's like 11 7/8. Okay, so that's going to go right like this. Now, if you want to do any distressing, you need to do that now. You know what? I would totally go, make sure you don't trim any of that off. Keep it to 12. This, I got to cover that, seriously. You know what? I'm going to take a paintbrush and get some white in there. That will help so you don't see the brown chipboard. So there's a will, there's a way. That's better, but it's still going to drive me crazy. Okay, so we're going to put this on top and center it. Okay, so it's going to go like this. And I'm going to go ahead and use score tape again. I'm running kind of low. I a lot of times use the art glitter glue, but I'm just going to have to, I'll use this time. I wonder if I had as much of a margin of paper in this one. Yeah, I did. Okay. And I'll do all 4 sides, and I'll do some in the middle too. I'm still in the process of trying to find the perfect camera angle, and I'm hoping this works because the way I have it set up now, before it's like behind my back and over my shoulder and it points down. Now it's in front. So I hope you're getting as good of a view. And you know what? I'm wondering if I turn off this light, how good that will help. Does that help much? Not necessarily that great. I think I need it back on just so that I can see better. Okay, so now I'm going to run some across, because I don't want this puppy coming up. And you don't have to go crazy, just enough to get it to stick real well. And I'm going to go ahead and this paper that I'm using has a light hint of some black every once in a while. So I'm actually going to use the black soot. I'm just going to do it real subtly, real subtle, and go around and just do the edges. It's kind of a finishing touch. Just gives it a little something extra. And one more side. And if you don't want to use, if you don't do your edges, that's totally fine too. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Okay, so now we're going to center it as best as possible. So I'm going to eyeball it first and kind of see. You want the same amount of space at the top as you have on the bottom. Okay, all right. Go ahead and take off the strips of paper or on the back of the score tape. Tammy does sell full sheets of score tape, which like 6x6 sheets and stuff. Boy, I've made an album with that and it was so much faster. You don't have to take off all these individual pieces, but this is what I have today. All right. So I'm kind of a perfectionist, and that corner is really bugging me really bad. But it's too late to do anything about it now, but crud. All right, let me get my scraps out of the way and put away this so it's out of my way. Okay, so here we go. Make sure that the seam is on the right. I'm going to eyeball this and get it as close to even as possible. And that works for me. I'm going to press it down real good. Go ahead and take your bone folder. You know why? You know why I have extra room on the sides from my other one is because I didn't put the score tape in between on my spine, and I have a feeling I had less than a 1/4 inch space. I probably had closer to an 1/8 or something. Okay, so now we want to fold our book so that we can work with the spine, and so here's where one of them is. So I'm going to take my bone folder and just kind of give it a push to get the paper in there, and so that it will open up for me, or bend. I'm going to lift it up a little bit. Okay, so you only need to bring your book up straight. You don't need to fold it all the way over, because when the book is closed, it's not going to go all the way over. So just give it so that it's like that, like an L. Okay, and now I want to do the other side. Go through make sure that you give it a good rubbing and push down and find that crease. Get the paper down in there and work with it to bring it up. Okay. All right. Perfect. So there's the inside. Now, what you would want to do next is I go ahead and do the outside. And what I do is I use seam binding to close it. And I'm going to go ahead and use this seam binding. So I'm going to cut off 2 pieces, and I'd rather have them be a little bit too long than too short. So I'm going to cut them about, let's go 12 inches. I'm going to cut 2 at 12 inches. And this is just how I did it. You can do it a different closure if you want. Okay, and I'm going to place it on the cover like this, and I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of score tape where I want that, and I'm not going to go all the way. Yeah, I am. For some reason I can't cut that. Okay. And I'm going to take off the back and just lay this on top. Push down real good. And I want it to line up with the one on the back, so I'm going to eyeball it very carefully. And I'm going to get a piece of score tape. And it's about right there. Okay, so I put a piece of score tape on the back, and I'm going to take the backing off of the tape and place the other piece of seam binding down and push down real good. So let's see if those line up. Works for me. Okay, so then I would cover the outside, and so I do 3 separate sheets, and I cut it a little bit shorter than the actual book, and so I'm going to cut each piece. It's 5 across. So I'm going to go about 4 3/4. Is that what I did on this one? Yeah, I'll probably go about 4 3/4. And it is 7 inches tall, so I'll probably go 6 3/4. So you're going to cut 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, and you want to make sure you have the direction of your paper the right way. So I'm using this paper, and I want this to be on the front. So I'm going to cut it so that she's down in the bottom right-hand corner. So what did I say? 6 3/4 I need to cut it. 6 3/4. Okay, and yeah, that's going to be so cute. And then 4 3/4. So this will be placed on the top. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put my black around the edges. It's the Black Soot by Tim Holtz. This kind of gives it that finished look, especially when you cut the paper. Sometimes you can see the white on the edge, and I do have white paper on the bottom, so it's not as bad, but okay, and that's going to go right there. And I'm trying to decide if I should use art glitter glue. You know what, I don't have enough glitter glue, I don't think. I'm going to go ahead and use score tape. And then I'm just going to do the front, and then I'm going to would do the spine and the back. The back would also be 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and that spine, it was 2 inches across. So you're going to want to cut a piece of paper that is, you can go 1 3/4, or you can make it a little bit wider, and then the length, or it would still be 6 3/4 inches tall. Okay, put a couple on the inside, just so it lays down flat and nice. Oh, look at this, is totally in the way. Okay. Go ahead and take off the score tape. And a lot of you are probably using an ATG and it's going faster, so you're waiting for me. So I apologize. Come on, last piece. Okay. So I'm going to place this on the front cover. I'm going to eyeball it. Some people just take off part of the score tape. I am a daredevil. I'm going to go ahead and take it all off. Line it up. Yeah, it doesn't pay sometimes to be a daredevil. Okay. Push it down real good. So then you would do the spine and the back. I'm going to do one more thing, and then I'm going to take a break and get the inside box ready. On the first one that I did, I had a pocket in the back because I like to put ribbon and lace when I send tags. But instead of the back this time, I think I'm going to put it in the front because I don't want to cover this up. So that's why I decided to do the front. So you're going to need a piece of cardstock. And this measures 4.5 by 7. So 4.5 by 7. And then you get your scoreboard. And on the 7-inch side, I scored at half, 1, and 1.5. And then I flipped it around and I did it again on the other side. Half, 1, 1.5. Turn your paper so that it's on the 4.5-inch side and score at 1/2 inch. Okay, so because I want a little bit of depth to my pocket to hold things, we're going to make the sides a little bit different. Okay, so you can see that I have where my 1/2 inch is at the bottom. I'm going to cut off the rectangle on the right and on the left so that I'm going to cut this off here, and I'm just going to do a little bit of an angle. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And I'm going to do it on the other side. And just a little bit of an angle. Okay, so it looks like that. And I'm going to, I've already burnished mine. So you want to burnish it so that you go in, out, in. So when I'm looking at my pocket, you see that? This looks like a 3. And this looks like a backwards 3. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so then I'm going to put score tape on the sides and place it on the inside front cover. And I'll use my 3/8 of an inch score tape. So I'm going to hold that down. Okay. And on the side here, and on this side. Okay, so then the paper to mat, you're going to want, if it's a 4-inch pocket, I would go 3 3/4 across, and I'm going to have it be 3 3/4 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, and then we will adhere that to the inside, and I'm going to use score tape, and then I would mat it. I'm going to actually mat it first and then put it in. So I'm going to do a couple things to prepare for the inside box to get that ready, and I'll be right back. Okay, I did some prep work, and I'm going to show you now how to make the box. The pieces, remember, I gave you at the beginning, but there are 2 that are 1 3/4 by 3. There are 2 that are 3 by 4.5. And then there's 1 that is 1 3/4 by 4.5. And you'll notice that on my chipboard, you'll see white on the edges on these 4 pieces. And that's because when I put this together, I'm going to use the white artisan cardstock on the corners. So there won't be any on the top. And so to kind of hide that chipboard, I paint the edges so that you can't see the chipboard. And you don't have to do that, or you can cover it with white paper if you want to before you make it, but this is how I do it. So this is the layout of the box. And so these two sides will go up, and then these two sides go up like that. So we need to connect some pieces, and then after I connect the pieces, I actually cover the inside with paper before I do these two sides. So what you're going to need is some 1-inch strips, and you score those at 1/2 inch. And you place score tape on each side of the score, and you're going to use these then to connect your pieces. And so you need to measure how long each of these pieces are so that you can connect the box. So I'll show you what I ended up with. And I could give you the measurements, but I think you should measure yourself just to make sure, because everybody's cutting is a hair off. So you're going to need a piece that connects these two. You're going to need a piece that connects these two. You're going to need a piece that connects the sides here and here, and connect the sides here and here, and then 2 for right there on the inside. Now you can also put these tabs on the inside. I know that what I'm putting in this box is going to be very lightweight. They're going to be tags, and so I'm not going to reinforce it on the inside. You can, and I'll show you what I'm talking about once I get going. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach this piece to my middle piece. So I'm going to move all these things out of the way a little bit here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off one piece, and I'm going to place it on my chipboard. Line it up. Okay, and I'm going to press it down. Okay, so I just put it on one side. And so now I'm going to place the other piece of chipboard on the other side. Okay, and so it will be connected. Oh, you can't see. It'll be connected like that. And there's the piece on the back. Okay, so I'm going to take off. Let me move this. I'm going to take off the backing of the score tape, and I'm going to place this. I'm going to turn it so I can see it better. Sorry. And I'm going to lay this so that it matches up. Okay, and I'm going to push down. And you can see now that you have these two pieces connected, okay, with that little piece. Now you'll notice if I open it, there is a little bit of space there. So when I attach this, that's why I stand it up. Sorry. I stand it up so that I know what it, where to put that adhesive. But if I lay it flat, there is a little bit of a gap. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it does. Okay, so now I'm going to attach this piece to my bottom piece. And so to do that, I'm going to take off one piece of the score tape backing, and I'm going to put it on the bottom of this piece. So I'm going to turn it sideways again. So, sorry. I say sorry a lot, I realized. Okay. And press down. So that's the bottom of my box. So now I'm going to attach this right here so that those are the two big sides. Take the backing off. And now I'm going to stand it up when I attach it so that I know where to put that paper with the adhesive. Okay, and I'm going to push down real good. So there is part of the box. Okay, now I'm going to attach these two pieces on the side. So I'm going to take my smaller piece and put it on the bottom of this one. Okay, and push down. and I'm going to attach it by putting that white on the back there so that it's like that. So I'm going to stand it up just to make sure that I'm getting it lined up right. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to place where how my box would look closed up. Darn it, sorry. That took me longer than it should have. Okay, so now there's that piece on the bottom. And now I'm going to do the other side. That looks a hair too long. Let me trim this real quick. Where are my scissors? Okay, so I'm going to put this on the bottom. Press down so you can see, and then it's going to bend over and it's going to attach to the bottom piece like so, like that. Take this off. Butt it up against here, giving yourself a little bit of space. There's a little bit of a gap. And then it'll stand up just fine. Okay? And so that's the bottom. That's what it looks like so far on the outside, or the bottom. So the next thing I'm going to do is start attaching these side pieces. Now before I do that, I want paper on the inside of my box. And so I put the paper on before I attach the sides. So I'm going to do that now. I have it pre-cut. Again, I'm not going to give you the measurements because really you need to look at your box and go with what you like. I go about, if it's a 1 3/4, I go just a hair shorter than that because I want it to be as covered as much as possible. So let me get this back the right direction. So I'm going to place my paper down with adhesive like so. And so that the inside will be covered. Then I'm going to do the rest of the sides. Okay, so I'm trying to decide, do I want to use score tape or another adhesive? I've been using score tape this long, I might as well keep doing it, I guess. Okay, gotta find the end here. All right, and I'm not going to use as much tape. I always say that. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to put it on the outside on these. You can use glue, whatever adhesive you prefer. Okay, take the backing off. Come on. And now you can see why I painted it white, because there's not going to be a strip of paper up there on the top. Okay. Press down. Do the middle one. I just think it's easier, but you should do it before you close up the box. Okay. Press down. We are getting closer to the spring retreat in Utah. It's going to be held in March, and I am so excited to go and meet all the people and make some cool things. I can't wait. It's sponsored through Country Craft Creations, and Tammy Merrill is the owner of the store, and she's the one who put it together. And I know that Kimmy Murray is going to be teaching one of the projects, and I know Authentique will be there, and Bo Bunny, and so, and I haven't been to one before, so I'm excited. I'm just going for, it's a long weekend, and it just so happened that it worked with my spring break, so I get to go. That was my Christmas present to myself, and my husband, being he didn't get me anything. I said that's what it would be. So I'm excited to see what we make. It's a big secret right now. Nobody knows. Okay. I probably should have had the adhesive on the back of this paper before I started, so sorry about the monotony of watching me adhere tape. And two more. This is still the 3/8. I probably could have used the 1/4 on this, but that's what I had out. I just ordered 5 rolls of the 3/8, hoping that will last me a little while. I usually go through about a full roll when I make a mini album. Even though I'm using more of the art glitter glue, I still go through a lot. Okay, and one more. You're probably glad that it's almost done. Oh, I keep wanting to put more tape on there. That should be enough. I'm going to put one across the top. At the top. Okay. All right. Alrighty, and the last piece. Alright, so now we're going to take these two sides and put them together and place one of the strips on the corner so it holds the two pieces together. Okay, so I am actually going to take both pieces off at the same time on this one. To me that works better. Well, let me see, I'll try it both ways and see what works better. So I'm going to put one piece on. Okay, and then I'll take the other piece off, hold it up, hold this up, and have it meet, press down. Okay, so there's, it's getting there, starting to look more and more like a box. So now I'm going to do the other side, same way. I'm going to take off one first, I guess. That worked fine for me. Line it up with the edge. Push down on it. Bring up the side and attach their part. Okay, so now we have an open box. Now we just need to finish the other two sides. Make sure that's right, yeah. Place it on here. My lighting is bad. Press down You know what, I'm going to go ahead and put the other one on here on this side. And press down. Okay. And let's wrap this up. Fold this one up. Make sure that the chipboard meets where you want it to. Give it a firm press. And last one. Make sure it's lined up. Alright, so there is the box that's going to go in, that's going to be attached to the spine. So you can see the inside of the box is all papered and looks good. You can see why I have the white on the top. Now when we attach this to our box, you don't need decorative paper on one side, because one side is going to be glued up against the spine. So you're going to need paper for the three sides, and then I put it on the bottom too. I just like it better that way. So I've already cut those, and I'm going to adhere everything down. Okay. And I'm going to come back after I have glued everything down and show you how to attach it to the box, and we'll go from there. Alright, I put together the box by adding my Heartland paper, and I put it on the three sides, and I put it on the bottom, and then I took, this side's empty, so this is where I put all of my score tape. Try and cover it as much as you can. I have just a tiny section in the middle there that's not covered, but otherwise everything is covered. Then I added with my glue gun the heart lace from the store, the Country Craft Creations, and it's perfect for this paper with these hearts down here at the bottom. Look at how cute that is. So then the next step is adhering the box to your book. And so that's going to go right here. What I like to do is kind of close the book and see where exactly I want it. So I just want to make sure that it's even, but yet I have that front pocket, so I don't want that to get in the way. I'm going to lower it as much as I can. So that looks about where I want it. Okay, so I'm going to take off the adhesive and press it down onto that spine. And because there's not going to be that much weight on it, I have not had any problems with the box coming off the spine. It stays real well. Again, it depends what you're putting on in there, but if it's just paper products, it should be fine. So those chipboard tags I make, they have some embellishments on them that are metal or whatever, but it still stays. I haven't tried anything else. I don't know if a glue gun would be just as good, or... Okay, so all my adhesive is off, and I'm going to place this on the bottom. I'm going to hold up my sides just so that it's easier for me to see. And I'm going to stick it down so that it lines up. I think I'm happy with it there. So I'm going to press down. I'm going to reach in here and push down. I have a bone folder that I'll stick in there. Okay, so that is, that's a weird angle. That's what the box looks like when it's open, or the tag book. And so my tags will go in here, and I'll put some ribbon in here when I send it to whoever it belongs to. And I'm going to decorate the box and make a tag, and I'll do that on a separate video. So if you're interested in seeing what this book looks like on the cover when I'm done, go ahead and watch the next one. Like I said, I'll make one tag and also finish decorating. So I hope that that was an easy enough tutorial to follow. It's a real cute book, easy book. I think a beginner could easily put this together. And if you have any questions, let me know. I appreciate you watching, and subscribe if you haven't. And when I get new collections from Country Craft Creations and do my reveals, I'll post those, and when I make something with those, I'll post those also. So thanks for your time today, and have a great day.